Since Nigerian independence in 1960, lots of Nigerian women have been making tremendous efforts in rewriting and pushing women's narrative across the globe by forging new paths and setting positive standards for the sole goal of gender equality and inclusion in all aspects of human activities. Though Nigerians have been celebrating a number of our great women breaking the glass ceiling both in the country and internationally. According to research, a good number of Nigerian women have been making waves and are still making waves in their different fields of endeavors, but skeletally, hence the continual outcry by women for inclusion and equal opportunities in their workplaces, especially in active political space. Our conversation today will center on how much effort Nigerian women are putting in order to be heard and even achieve milestone, and at what cost, what they need to do and what not to do to be able to stand unstained and still stay relevant and equal with their male counterparts. I welcome you to Generations Gist with Joy. I am Joy Onu, your host. Before I unveil today's guests for this all-important conversation, let us go on a quick break. Please stay with us.
The world is no longer a global village. It is a neighborhood. Generations come and go, but the gist they start lingers. The platform that sustains those gists is here. Be a part of the conversation on Generations Gist with Joy. From policymakers to politicians, medical personnel to traders, labor leaders to students, the young and the old. It's Generations Gist with Joy on this channel every Saturday at 9 a.m. with a repeat broadcast on Sunday at 9 a.m.
It's your generation, it's my generation, it's our generation.
Come, let's tag along on Generations Gist with Joy. Please join us.
We are still on Generations Gist with Joy, and we are going to be discussing women breaking the glass ceiling, their challenges and perception. And to discuss this, we have a strong feminist and advocate of gender equality. She is an anti-corruption crusader, a community organizer, a fitness and wellness professional. Among other advocacy she puts up for women. She is a force to reckon with in the political space. She has aspired to different positions in the course of her membership of the People's Democratic Party for over 19 years now. She contested for the House of Assembly in Lagos State. She aspired for the governorship seat in Bayelsa State in 2019, where she was the only female contestant and also the only female aspirant of the People's Democratic Party for the presidential seat in 2023, and also the youngest at that time. I welcome with me in the studio a young, determined, vibrant, and a pragmatic woman of this generation, Honorable Mrs. Tari Oba Oliver.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me. Joy, it's been a while. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. You are welcome to Generations Gist with Joy, and we are really glad to have you on this show this morning. And there is a lot going on, especially this month. You know, there is International Women's Month. And you know, women, you know, we are blessed, we are intelligent, you know, and a lot is happening. Women having a kind of relegated, so to say, because that is what the outcry is out there. And you know, I know a lot of women are doing so much in the country and all over the world, but when it actually matters, do you think they are doing enough? And if they are not doing enough, why is that so? And what should be done to correct that?
Okay. First of all, I want to say Happy Women's Day, Happy Women's Week, Happy Women's Month to all the strong women out there. And it's beautiful to be a woman. It's beautiful to be able to multitask. It's beautiful to be so resilient, because as a woman, as a mother, as a daughter, there are so many things that you can do at the same time, because you don't want to fail. So women work most times 5, 6, 7 times harder than their male counterparts, because traditionally women are the ones that take care of the home front, even when children are growing up. So you see mothers will let the male children go and play, but the daughters have to stay back. You have to work. You have to learn how to be domesticated. That is how you're traditionally brought up. But you know, so when you are grown and you want to express yourself, you want to fulfill your destiny, you want to impact lives, you cannot throw away your foundation. So you have to find a way to marry the foundational upbringing with the societal challenges you're going to be dealing with. So I can say that women are doing so much already. If there's anything to be added to what the women are doing, is a support system. There needs to be more support system for women, because on their own they are doing so well. So well. And I say kudos to every woman out there that's standing strong, keeping it strong, focusing on your goals, and you know, just trying to surpass all the challenges that are staring you in your faces. You know, so over the years, globally, nationally, at the community level, women have done so well. Politically, you know, especially in the NGO space. You can see that women have taken over the NGO space. Because if you do not have the political power to impact communities, you can do that from your personal space. So you can see that from the NGO space that is mostly self-sponsored and sponsored by other organizations, you can see that you have more than 80% of those striving in that space as women. So that shows resilience, because what a lot of NGOs are doing are actually responsibilities of the government, but you see a lot of male elected officials there not doing anything. Then you see people that have not been given any funding or no allocation by the government and any you know, any sort of public funding, doing so well. So we give ourselves kudos this month for all we have done for humanity.
Congratulations to women all over the world. However, and the question is this, you know, I asked whether we are doing enough.
We are doing more than enough.
But are we out there? And if we're out there, why they outcry all the time? Women inclusion, women this and women that.
Okay, so let's come back to the basis. So if we are talking about how much women are doing, if we're doing enough, so we have to now narrow down to what aspects. We have the private sector, we have the public sector. When it comes to public sector, we're talking about appointive, elective offices. So let me stay with elective offices right now. So you see that the last 2023 elections, we had over, from my party alone, from the PDP, we were about 350 women that ran around that figure, 350 women that ran elections in this country, and less than 5% of that population emerged. So people say women are not coming out. Women are coming out. This is just my party. So many other parties that I knew that people ran. So I don't have all the figures together, but if we put it all together, it's over 500. And how many percentage of those people emerged? So there are barriers, there are challenges, there are constraints, there are issues that make it impossible for women to emerge. And top on that list as I'm talking to you is violence. So we talk about violence, and we talk about violence, domestic violence, violence in workplaces, violence in electoral system. It's a lot. I have personally experienced so many women losing elections because on the day of the elections there's a shootout. They're shooting sporadically in the air. People are buying weapons, people are buying guns. And you know, women are nurturers, women are mothers, women have empathy. women are loving. I tell people, I said, if I don't win an election and I do not lose any member of my team, I have won.
Yeah.
Because that's the priority for me. I don't want to win and lose anyone. So if it comes to that, I'll tell my people, stand down. And this is what happens mostly to a lot of women. It is violence in Nigeria because perpetrators go unpunished. There are so many laws, but it's never implemented. But if these people are apprehended and made to face the consequences of their actions, I'm sure the next electoral cycle, they would think better. But if nothing is done, that means anybody can wake up and say, okay, so this woman is competent, she has everything, she has capacity, she's intelligent, she has mobilized the people to vote for her. How do we stop them? And somebody buys arms and starts shooting. So no woman is going to encourage our team members to go into that sort of combat.
In this case, what should women do to actually overcome this kind of challenge? Because it's a big challenge to the women folk.
Yes, it is. That's why we are all about advocacy. The laws are there, we just need them to be implemented. The laws are there. Nigeria is a country that does not tolerate violence in the books. But do we see that happening?
Say in the books.
In the books, yes, because it's a criminal act for you to kill someone else. It's criminal for you to even possess firearms that is unlicensed. So, but we see these things happening and what is being done, and they are being sponsored. So even if you apprehend them, women can come out. You know, there was a time with some women, one of the polling units, women came out and they apprehended these young boys. But at the end of the day, they were released. So they have people backing them up, and we are saying back out, back off. You know, it's not enough that you just want to grab power. What do you do with it at the end of the day? Is Nigeria any better without the inclusion of women? We say no.
No.
It's no. So please. So for the young people that even go about perpetrating this act, is your life better? Do you think that all you deserve is to carry guns and be tout to someone else? When you have dreams, these young men have dreams, they just need to be sponsored. They are very talented young people. They need to be encouraged, and someone is sitting there and just using you as a gun carrier, and tomorrow if anything happens to you, they abandon you there, you die, and you don't fulfill your destiny. Is that what you want?
Yeah, that takes me to this thing. You know, the men are already like, what you are saying now is like the men are not there for us, you know. Then there's another angle to this thing. Like, I know you contested for the presidency, contested for the governorship of Bayelsa State, House of Assembly in Lagos State, which the party I think is against you because you are a PDP and Lagos is kind of APC party. So I understand that one. Then the governorship of Bayelsa State, then the presidency at the last presidential primary election, you know. So what is actually your experience, you know, as a woman? Because as a feminist, I know you're a feminist and an advocate for gender equality, you know, and you mobilize a lot of women, and you said something that every woman, let me quote you, you said every woman that occupies an office position is duty bound to encourage and support and motivate other women to participate in active politics. But you know, in our culture, like you said earlier, in the culture, the values, and even our religious inclination, you know, do you think that is even yielding enough? Because even amongst us, the women, are we supporting ourselves?
Okay, so let me take it from this very last question. There's so many questions you throw up, but let me take it from the support system that women get. Let me say something, that there is a narrative out there that women do not support women. Women do not support themselves. And I say it's actually also, that is a narrative that is set out there to blame the victim. Women are victims in the Nigerian system. Women just actually started voting, had the voting right just somewhere around 1979. They had to fight to be able to vote. Every single thing that a woman has got, she had to fight for.
For it, yeah.
And you know, there are challenges that women face. And most times, you don't want to appear weak. So, you may not tell your story entirely. So the other woman out there does not know what you're dealing with. So she feels like she's supposed to be supporting me, but she's not. Just because you don't know the other part of the story. But I do not know of any woman who deliberately comes out to say, other women are my problems. No.
Okay.
Most times, we see the culture of silence. So you see a woman that is supposed to speak up for you, she's not saying anything. Have you brought her to find out what exactly she's dealing with? Like during my presidential elections, just shortly before then, I had a miscarriage and I lost an 8-month-old pregnancy.
I'm so sorry.
And I was not allowed to fly. And I saw a lot of women saying, oh, she didn't come to me. But you did not know what I was dealing with at that time. Can you just expand your thoughts a bit and just think about the next person? So for the issue of women supporting one another, support in the Nigeria sense of support means resources. Now I'm asking, how much resources do women have?
Exactly.
How much resources are in the coffers of women? How much resources are at their disposal? How many businesses are owned by women? What is the revenue of women? You cannot compare. So the little that women have, I believe they are trying their best. And the more we have, the more we are able to support one another, the more we are able to raise ourselves, the more we are able to stand up for ourselves. I believe with time, we're going to break that circle, in quotes, of women not supporting women, because you cannot support empty-handed.
Are women actually supporting women?
Yes, women are supporting
Okay,
women
that
to the
brings,
best of their ability.
Okay, and that brings me to, you know, in international community or in advanced countries, you know, if a woman is pregnant, for example, she's given, you know, time to heal or to go on maternity leave longer than what we have in Nigeria.
Yes.
You know, there's this belief in Africa, for example, that if you put her there, she's a woman, she's young, she will be giving birth every day, she will not be productive and all those things. You know, when you said that during the presidential primary election that you had a miscarriage, you know, and it will be put there like, okay, she's still very, you know, active and all those things. And if we are not active at a younger age, at what point do you want a woman to be active? You know?
So these are the barriers that women face. And I said it earlier that women work 5, 6, 7 times as hard as men. A man can impregnate several women and he goes about his business and he's not carrying any child on his back or any pregnancy or holding a child by the hand.
Is this a limitation for women?
It is a limitation.
So what are women going to do? Because are they not supposed to go into politics because of this limitation?
It's
now?
not just politics now. It's in all spaces. Even in security, they'll tell you for a certain number of years you are not allowed to get pregnant without compensations. And also women have biological clock.
Yeah.
So if you're saying, okay, we cannot get you in this space because you are still young, they are still the same people that will turn around and say she's an old hag, she refused to settle down, so she has not built a family for herself. So younger women, we're building the family, we are continuing with our career, we are helping drag other women along, we are collaborating, we are doing everything possible to surpass our challenges.
Exactly.
So but we are just saying that those stereotypes that feels, or they say that women are not supposed to be seen, women are not supposed to be heard, women should not be in public spaces, women should not be out there running elections, you cannot bully us down, we are part of the system. I tell people Nigeria is backward today because Nigeria has been standing on just one leg. When you have intelligent women, when you have resourceful women, God is not biased. God has blessed both the male and female that he created. So you cannot, if the men are doing so well, so why are we in a mess in this country? We're in a mess as far as I'm concerned. Because since 1960, the women have been in power. And what have they done differently? So you need a different perspective. You need a gender perspective. You need the women's perspective. Women need to be in the room. Women need to contribute their own quota towards nation building. We have done so well at the family level. We should be giving. We should be creating that space. Should be created. We are not even saying give us anything, We are saying just acknowledge the fact that we have capacity, and if there's any support system that we need you to stop being on our neck. Just give us the opportunity to thrive.
Okay, like now, you know, even in the, I'm still going, because you're a politician, I will still go back and forth in the political space. You know, these political parties, the only thing you see them give a woman,
national woman leader,
is the woman leader. The woman leader, I have not seen, maybe rarely, I saw one, maybe PRO one time in my local government, one time. I rarely see a woman treasurer, a woman chairman of the party or chairperson of the party, or this and that. Other positions is just the woman leader. And women, for me, women are just relegated. I have not seen a political party that have a woman chairperson, that have a woman secretary, that have a woman PRO, even at the national level and the state level. So what are women going to do in these terms to be able to break this glass ceiling?
You know, we have a 35% quota system that has not been implemented. And so when you talk about 35%, so what that means is that apart from the woman leader position, we are supposed to either have secretary or have assistant secretary or financial secretary, just like part of the working committee. But what do we have, like you said, just the woman leader? Because the mentality of these men is that the women should be clapping and dancing for them. Okay, so woman leader, go and mobilize your women. Let them just call, let there be women tying colorful wrapper, blouse, a tie. That's all. Nothing more. Then they mobilize bosses. And these women are grassroots women. They don't have income. They have not been engaged. You know, you don't have education. There's nothing. Their resources are down. So they know that the women are available. Okay, they are there. They will need 2,000 to feed their children. Go and pack them and bring them. At the end of the day, you share them stipends. But if these women had equal rights, they had access to education, they were financially empowered, they're going to challenge the status quo. But we are not seeing that happen because they are poor. So poverty is a leveler. It levels you down. It puts you in a situation where you don't have an opinion. It puts you in a situation where you don't have a voice. And because, come on, these women, maybe you are there in the house, your children have not eaten, and somebody is offering to give you 2,000 to come and clap and dance. Come on, you're going to take it. So the agenda is to make sure that every girl child is educated, every boy child is educated, so that the next generation can raise equal children with equal opportunities. That the boys will understand the importance of having their sisters, their friends, their neighbors educated, and they can work hand in hand and complement each other in building the society, in building the nation. And now we know we won't have the system of men dominating women and men feeling that the only thing they need is to just be there and provide, generate resources at the expense of other people. Even going into violence, killing young women, you know, ritual killings and all of that. You can see the society is a mess as we speak right now. It is a mess.
Yeah, but you know, over the years you have carried out several quality empowerment programs, you know, mentorship and even support across secondary schools and university, you know, to get more women from young age to be a part of decision-making process through the Tari Oba Foundation. How successful is that program, and what are the challenges and what has been done so far?
Okay, so the Tari Oba Foundation was founded about 15 years ago. I was living within a community in Lagos State on the highland that had very high rate of prostitution, human trafficking. Now, most of these young girls were trafficked to the west from, you know, from other inlands in the country, from villages and places that are not as successful as Lagos State. And many of them were deceived that they were coming to do legitimate jobs, go to school and stuff. And in no time you start having girls of 12, 13, 14, 15 becoming mothers. So that was how this foundation was founded. You know, I started by going to speak to people. This is a challenge, you know, this is because you speak to these young girls and they tell you their stories. They tell you they never bargained for prostitution. They didn't want to do this, but they are left with no option. So we had to start with housing. So I went around, a few friends of mine went to churches. This is the challenges. These girls are willing to leave these houses, but what do we do? How do we accommodate them? How do we make sure they start skills and all of that? So that was how Tari Oba Foundation was founded. Okay. And we have, over the years, spread across the country, because we discovered that the issue, it was not just a Lagos issue. Prostitution is, I think, is second to drug in the entire world.
Wow.
Yes, it is the biggest money-making institution, human trafficking. And this is something that is an epidemic. So
money making for the victims or for
for the perpetrators?
For the
perpetrators. The victims have nothing.
Wow.
Most times they have nothing. They are not even allowed rights over their bodies. They are not even allowed rights over who or protection even. Sometimes they're even meant to have these things without protection, and they're dying of sicknesses. Too many girls I know personally that have died. Yeah. Yes. And I got this, now led me to partner with another organization that is into human trafficking. And even right now I'm the gender desk officer for anti-human trafficking. The Nigerian Forest Hunters and Forest Security Services. Because you see, most of these things, most of these places are hidden in the bushes, in the forest, and you see, it is the hunters that go into these places. So we had that partnership, and this organization has been doing a lot. We are hoping that the president will assent to the bill. Okay. So you see, Tari Oba Foundation, if I go by the data we have affected positively more than 5 million people directly and indirectly, because we've been able to partner with several organizations in training, giving out scholarships, and even escalating our voices. Sometimes you don't even need to bring out the money yourself. When I was contesting for State House of Assembly in Lagos State, Lekki Constituency 1, one of the biggest challenges I had was the fact that we had a very high level of drug abuse amongst young people, because the schools were not enough. So you don't expect a child to walk for more than 1 hour to 2 hours just to get to school under the very high sun and come back. So most times they'll just stop by the wayside. So when I was contesting, this was one of the priorities that was on my list. And secondly, it was maternal health, because a lot of young women were patronizing traditional birth attendants, and they were dying in the process. So every day someone is calling you, Dupe has died, Tayo has died. This, it's overwhelming. And I felt like, okay, if I become that representative, then I can advocate for healthcare center, I can advocate for schools. And when all of this was going on, of course I'm not Yoruba, I'm from the Niger Delta, and they saw my zeal, they saw how much I actually wanted this community developed, because my policy is state of residence. It is where you live that you're going to contribute productively.
Anyway, Honorable Tari, before we move on, let us go on a short break. Okay. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. You are welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Generations Gist with Joy, and my guest is Mrs. Tari Oba Oliver. You were talking about the Tari Oba Foundation, what you've been able to do, your experiences on the field, and so on.
Achievements.
Yes, and the achievements.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have achieved a whole lot, and kudos to our sponsors, kudos to our partners, kudos to those who believe in our vision. I started from the issue of maternal health, where young women were dying, in the process of giving birth. So what we did was to ensure that the traditional birth attendants were trained. So we wrote to organizations that could facilitate and fund training, so that training occurred. So that kind of reduce the rate of maternal mortality of those who patronized the TBAs. We also were able to advocate for a maternal health center. It's the mother-child hospital now in Ebamadesanya. Because before now, the women have to go all the way to Lagos Highland maternity. I know because of the traffic in Lagos and everything, so most times they're unable to make it there in time, you know. So that is also a success story. We're able to advocate for a signal secondary school, which was facilitated by Honorable Bayo, Honorable Bayo Balogun, represent the House of Rep representative Lekki constituency. So we actually used our voices, used our network to collaborate, to partner, to negotiate for the good of the people. And I think this is what it's about. Whatever you cannot do yourself, you collaborate with people, you escalate the voices of those that are the vulnerable in the society. Because if their pain is your pain, then you'll find a way to find solutions to the issues that they're dealing with. And I can say that in all the states that of the federation that we have presence, the government of those states have actually supported us in no small measure. Bayelsa State, Bauchi State, it's just, you know, the support is overwhelming.
Okay, I'll go back to the political parties with the woman leader issue. I'll go back there again. You know, you've been a hardliner in different campaigns for especially the not too young to run, and that bill was passed and approved at a point and approved into an act in the country. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Know. So you've been doing all of these campaigns and the rest of it. You just said something about women that were lured into Lagos from villages to come and do a kind of prostitution, you know.
Young girls actually. Wow,
young girls. So
yes.
In that aspect, have you been able to really do something about it, just like you have achieved in the women child maternal issue?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I actually started initially collaborating with the Nigeria Hunters and Farmers Security Services, NHFSS. So this is a grassroots organization that has presence in the entire 36 states of the federation, you know, headed by Dr. Satime. So he actually initiated the idea that, you see, you have farmers, you have hunters that go into the rural areas, that are in the forest, that are in the bushes and all of that in our community. You know, I believe in community policing. I know that there's a lot of drama about all of that policy, about dominance and overusing of power. But the truth is that security is local. So those that are the local people at the local levels that get into the forest and all of that, they have more information. They know the terrains. They're able to, you know, provide hands-on practical solutions. So through this organization, we have been able to curb human trafficking to a great extent, and we are collaborating with NAPTIT, founded by, you know, the
I was going to ask you about NAPTIT.
Yes, NAPTIT, the bill was actually sponsored by Her Excellency Titi Abubakar. Then as the wife of the vice president, you know, we've done a lot of work in terms of human trafficking, trying to reduce it to the best of our ability. Even this child sales of children, that's people get pregnant, keep people, it's still human trafficking. They keep a lot of the young girls, they let them get into whatever it is, get them impregnated, and they sell the babies. So this is what we're dealing with right now.
Okay, talking about the sidelining of women in Nigeria, in fact all over the world. If you watch the election in the US, you could see what actually happened. Women are still trying to break even, and in all aspects, in offices, in corporate world, women are doing well, but that politics is actually still there, you know. Then the Senator Natasha, Senator Akpabio, the Senate President saga marks another significant moment in Nigerian history, and this highlight the power of women and youth and their role in advocacy for social justice and equity. The case is like a heated, you know, debate all over the country, with public opinion divided actually. You know, a lot of people, the people in the Senate, people outside, this one is pro Natasha, this one is pro Akpabio, and so on. You know, women even the older generation, not forgetting the backlash from the National Assembly. You know, I'm talking about the divided opinion now. The older generation, the youth, the young women, everybody is divided along this path. What do you think about all of this thing? You know, because we don't even want to go into why she said she sat on another seat or that 10 and so on and so forth. That has been debated several times. What do you think about the whole of this?
Okay, so I'm a peace advocate.
Because it affects women.
Yes,
actually.
I'm a peace advocate. And the first thing I always say is that there is no bad peace and there is no good war. In all of this, we are not benefiting anything.
Sure.
So there is no need to unnecessarily eat up the polity, because there's a lot happening already. Nigerians are going through a lot. And I have been in support of Senator Natasha, not just because she's a woman, she's from my party, she has shown capacity, she has shown resilience, and she's someone that I have a lot of respect for. And Senator Akpabio himself is a leader from the Niger Delta, where I'm from. So I am not even castigating anyone in this conversation. We are saying due process. If your child comes and tells you that there's someone that has harassed her, as a mother, what would you do? You want to confront the situation. You don't urge the child to shut up. Senator Natasha has raised an allegation. Is it not proper that he should be investigated? That is the right thing to be done. So you want to suspend her because she has broken the rules, but that does not stop the investigation from happening. So I don't know what the plan is. You know, Nigeria and Nigerians, we have a way of moving on so fast. So I'm suspecting maybe the 6-month suspension is so that we will move on from the conversation, and hopefully before then something else must have come up that will take away our attention and they move on as if nothing happened. No, that should not happen. The issue at hand must be investigated. Both of them, they are senators. Yes, one is the Senate president, but they are both senators. They are both elected by their people. They should submit themselves for investigation. At the end of the day, whoever is found guilty should be made to face the consequences. I do not want this issue to just distract us from the fact that there's no electricity, distract us from the fact that we don't have available data, you can't call people, all of these things are escalating, cost of living is choking everybody, you know. Then you just feel like this is the only issue we have. No. Please, those responsible for investigation should investigate this.
That brings me back to this issue of women not supporting women, or maybe they are saying the truth or they are not saying the truth, because we saw that immediately after the public allegation against the Senate president by Senator Natasha on national TV, we saw the likes of Senator Reti Kingigbe. We saw the likes of former Senator Itagiwa and Olujimi, you know, came up with like, oh, Natasha didn't do it right. I mean, what do you think about this? Because there are also women who knows the rules of the Senate. Is there something that you think Natasha is doing right or wrong that is making the women who are supposed to be with her not saying something?
Okay, so I've not been in the Senate, and I do not underestimate the power of those who have been there or who are there presently. So they may be speaking from experience, and they say, okay, she did not stick to the rules. But that's all they have said, and that's all they're saying. They did not address the issue of the harassment. I think it was only one person that did, and she said when you are at a certain level, you can no longer be sexually harassed. And we all know that is not true. There's no research to back that. It's a false claim, and it should not be accepted. I believe that these are the personal opinions, and they do not represent the opinions of Nigerian women. We respect them as older women. We respect them as people that have been there. We respect them because one way or the other they have fought battles that probably we have not fought. They have seen things that probably we have not seen, and one way or the other their legacy will still outlive them, irrespective of their opinion on this very issue. But we are saying that what is right and what is wrong is wrong. If she had not kept to the rules, which most of them have said, yes. But that does not discard the fact that she raised an allegation that should be investigated. So I'll urge them, the same way they have talked about the rules, they should also put their voice and say the allegations should be investigated.
Again, after the pronouncement on TV and all this back and forth, you know, pro and anti Natasha protests here and there, and the rest of them. You remember the wife of the Senate president came up to defend the husband, and Natasha's husband also came out to, like, I don't know, I read the letter, like the wife, he also spoke with the Senate president about the harassment, and Natasha saying on air that she didn't tell the husband, you know, that she didn't want to tell the husband immediately that happened at Ikotekpeno or in Akwa Ibom State, and so on and so on. I mean, do you think Natasha shouldn't have said this on air or to the public, or maybe present it, or she should have said it earlier?
Okay, so we're going back and forth on this discussion some days ago, and there are so many cases where people have reported accusations, allegations of harassment, sexual abuse, rape, and whatever it is, even 10-15 years after the incident happened. So there's no timeline to reporting. You don't know if the victim is traumatized. You don't know what the person is dealing with. So you do not, the victim needs to be supported until investigation shows otherwise. Victims should be supported and not questioned, and not made to feel shame, or made to be embarrassed, or feel like they should regret speaking out. So people are encouraged to speak up. Whenever they want to speak up about a situation, it's entirely up to them, because you were not there, I was not there. We don't know the circumstances surrounding the issues, and that Natasha's husband is supportive of his wife, and Akpabio's wife is supportive of her husband. It just shows to goes to show you that we are a traditional society. We are very family oriented. So if your husband is going through a challenge, you're going to stand by him. If your wife is going through a challenge, you're going to stand by her.
There's also this debate in the public space that Natasha should have told the husband, like I said earlier, that she has a history of blackmailing. You know, they brought up the issue of Reno, Omokri, Bello, and so much like that, and they now brought up also the history from the Senate president, where this NDDC woman Joy Nune was, you know, came out also at this point, and you know, even Reno coming out often this time, and Joy herself coming out this time. In fact, I don't actually understand the whole of this thing, because some people are like, okay, since it's like this, two of you have history of so blackmail, history of harassment, why not settle this thing?
That's why we are
at the home front.
That's why I'm saying submit yourself.
Which is the Senate now. That's
why I'm saying, I said it earlier, they should submit themselves for investigation. Because yes, people will take sides. Naturally, I'll pitch my tent with Natasha. Naturally, these issues should be investigated. That's what we are asking, and I'm sure that majority of Nigerians are asking for the same thing. Let them not drag this thing. You know, there's a way we drag issues in Nigeria, and before you know it, it's swept under the carpet. You don't hear anything after now. No, we want these issues investigated. It's in the public already. So both parties, in the interest of both parties, their families, and even the Senate, that is a very respected arm of government, it needs to be investigated. I beg.
Because just was it last week, some group of women went to the Senate president to celebrate or to mark the International Women's Day or month, and he said a lot of things. He brought it how he loves the children, how the children are women, how he's been there with Natasha, and he will always be there for women, and that women should not weaponize their gender, you know, and come up that he is against harassment, you know. So what do you think? Is it a double? Is it speaking from both sides? you know, or I mean, I don't know where he actually stands at this point, because like you said, and some other people who are for Natasha are saying that this should be investigated, and those with him are saying Natasha is used to this kind of blackmail, because if you now notice, there is still protests going on, and it's still a debate. We have things on our hands, you know, the poverty level, the high cost of living, and the rest of them. Do you think Senator Akpabio is saying the right thing?
Talk is cheap. You know, anybody can say anything, but you need to back your words with actions. And the action that we're asking for is that this allegation should be investigated. It's not about saying that you love women, you are supportive of women. No, nobody is even undermining that, because I know he has a history for supporting women. I know a couple of women that have spoken in his favor, people I know personally. I don't know him personally, but people know him. But this has nothing to do with you supporting women. This is a sexual allegation. And people are saying this should be investigated. That because you support women does not mean that you cannot abuse women if you are prone to doing something like that. That you support women does not now make it a criteria that you cannot harass women. So nobody is saying you have done it. You should listen to us carefully. We are saying that until this is investigated, we will not be able to stand by you. We will not be able to say anything. So let it be investigated. Is that too much to ask? I think it's even in his interest to even say this should be investigated, because this is not something that is good that should linger on you for the next generation. No, let it be investigated.
Okay, some people are saying that he should step down, you know, and maybe his deputy take over and let this investigation take place.
I don't know if they can have an independent committee that can chair the investigation process, apart from the ethics and code of whatever committee that came up with this 6 months suspension verdict and all of the things they slammed. That doesn't make any sense to me. They've just added fuel to the burning fire. So I don't know if the right thing to do is for him to step down. I don't know if that is asking for too much, but I'm saying that if there could be an independent committee that could investigate this without bias, without favor to any of it, with facts, then I'm sure that we'll be able to get.
Do you think in this case Natasha is alone? Because of course there are protests here and there. Right now she has gone to the international, is it court now? Do you think she will win this case?
I don't know, to be very honest. We have a culture of silence in Nigeria, Africa. Women's voices are silenced. Women are bullied. Women go through a lot. So this is one case that I don't think is an isolated case. Even as we are speaking right now, there are so many women that have not been able to speak out. They're probably going through some challenges. Maybe they're even raped and they cannot speak out, they cannot say. But so this is actually saying women should have the confidence to speak up, and others should listen. You don't just hush and shut down someone that has laid an allegation as massive as this. This is not something to just throw under the carpet. This is not something that should be taken lightly. As a matter of fact, we should not even be talking about breaking the rules at this time. This is more important. This is more important. If someone has to scream in a marketplace to say this has happened to me, let the person scream. If you need to voice out in your office, let the person voice out. Let that issue be investigated before you say, oh, you were shouting or you were speaking too loudly. Speaking loudly should not be seen as the issue where as against what the person is speaking about. And I think that those that have spoken against Natasha have held the opinion of the fact that, okay, she was breaking the rules, maybe not speaking at the time she was supposed to speak. But do you know if that's our only opportunity to speak out? You don't know. So for anybody to say anybody is innocent, it has to be investigated. I cannot be a judge in this matter. Natasha cannot be a judge. Akpabio cannot be a judge. because they are both to be investigated in this issue.
Okay.
So let the whatever committee that promises to be fair go ahead and investigate this matter.
Okay, because a lot of people are seeing this issue as being, as trivial. Just this is petty, is taking over the normal or what should be discussed at the National Assembly and so on. As a woman now, we'll go back to this particular one. Why do you actually think some women are bottled up? Because like culture, value and so on, some women are going through a lot. Some women are not coming for elections. Some women are not. Where is the forum for these women to gather and say, no, we must be heard? Okay. Because especially women from political parties to elected positions to, other forum, the women are not given this chance to air their view, to contribute their quota to national development. You were there at a point. There must be something that is making you, for example, not breaking that barrier. You've broken it to the level of primary election. Beyond that, what happened? What next?
Okay, beyond that, the next thing is consistency. The truth is that it seems like an exercise in futility for a lot of people because the chances are very slim. Most times you have to fund yourself. Most times you have to mop up resources from your own personal space. As against most of the men that get funded by their counterparts.
Wow.
Yes. And so when they say men spend money during elections, most of that money is not even their personal resources. So I think one of the things that set women back is resources, because if you have expended so much, you cannot leave your children hungry and say you're doing politics because you want to change Nigeria. At some point, you get fed up. So those women that have, over the years, there's series to so many women that have run elections, and before you know it, they're no longer doing this whole thing. But the truth is that they are not giving up completely, because most of them are migrating from the political space into the civil society space. So most of these people that are heading NGOs and the rest, you see them, the former candidates, former aspirants, former this, former that. So the goal for the women is, okay, if I cannot get public funds to execute this, I can privately fund my projects, and whatever quota I'm able to do to contribute positively to my country, let me do it for my personal space, and I don't have to contest with anybody to do that. So it's not like women are stepping back, they're just taking a different route.
Okay.
But those that are still staying strong, standing strong, resilient, and continuing the goal and the what they want to achieve, I think it's time for other women to just support. If you can, I tell them, if you cannot run, support someone else that's still ready to do it.
Because like I said earlier, even the woman leader saga or thing like that.
Because the issue of the
they
woman
don't
leader,
even call them for meetings, for crucial meetings.
Yes, the issue of the woman leader. In fact, do you know that times that they will call meeting at very hot hours, and you'll manage and you'll come out and someone is going to be asking you, and madam, they sleep. You won't be the man, they sleep. Okay. Because they expect you to be sleeping. Don't come out. When they call meetings 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., they don't expect to see
for lack of time, we would have loved to go on and on and on about the women problems, the challenges, and where we need to be in this country. But just for a second, or maybe 20 seconds, what advice do you have for young women, especially of this generation, to be able to aspire to that level?
Eyes on the ball, network, collaborate, and make use of any single opportunity that comes your way. Time is an opportunity to make use of it. Don't say you're too young to dare. Don't say you're too young to aspire. The time you have now, that you don't yet have kids, you're not yet married, use it as much as you can, because there's a time that will come and you want to go somewhere and the baby is dragging you behind. So whatever, don't wait, just use your time for good things, for positive things, for community engagement, for societal or perfection, and just ensure that you are a Nigerian first. Thank you
so much, Honorable Tari Oba Oliver. Honorable Tari Oba Oliver was 2023 presidential aspirant under the PDP, and she's been here discussing with us about women breaking the glass ceiling and how women should move forward and be part of national development and movements and be able to reach that height. Thank you so much for being on this show. This is a much we can take on this episode of Generations Gist with Joy. Please do well to always be a part of this show by following us on all our social media platforms. For adverts and sponsorship details, please send an email to generationsgistwithjoy@gmail.com. Until I come your way same time next week, remember your generation is your identity. Let us always be our brother's keeper. Remain a patriotic Nigeria. I am Joy Onu. See you next week.